Hi, I'm here. I made it.
Oh, I need my phone. Okay, give me a sec. Because I need my notes. D. Okay, while I wait people to come into the room, let's add more pics. It's telling me that I have too many files, which, how is that possible? Alrighty. Hello, Sarah Gates. Hey, Babs. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Joslo. Hey, Hard to Know. Hey, Mickey. Okay. Hey, Jocelyn. Oh my gosh. This lash is killing me. Why? I was waiting on another page or whatever it's called. I was waiting on another page? What does that mean? I was waiting on another page or whatever it's called. Yeah, Babs, there are usually 2 lives that run at the same time. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah, of course, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, I've been obsessed. I have been obsessed. I didn't even know it was a book. And then they told me it was a book. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 72 hours. I've already read the book twice. And so within the book, it's an entire world, right? It's a whole like multi-universe. And that's surrounding basically the NHL. And in this world, it is Tough Guy, which I haven't read yet. Because I was like, oh, that's not about Shane. It's not about Shane and Ilya, so I don't care. But so is the first book called Game Changer? What is this? Yeah, so the first book is called Game Changer, and that one is about Scott Hunter. Okay. And if you watch the series, the Scott Hunter is episode number 3. Okay. But he has his own book. Him and Kip got their own book. Okay. And so then you move on from Game Changer. Let me get to the series. And you go to, you can get something called Game Changers Volume 2, which is 3 books in one, which is Common Goal, which Common Goal is about Eric and Kyle. You can get Role Model, which is about, who's Role Model about? Troy and Harrison. And then then it goes back to The Long Game, and The Long Game is book 2 of Shane and Ilya. So you're like in this world where all these characters know each other because they're all in the NHL. And for some reason, if you read them, you recognize that Ilya is at the center of all of it. he's the he's got two, he's a main character in 2 books, and he's a supplemental character in the other 3. Like all of them have a run-in with Ilya at some point. Anyways, I just went off a tip. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what to tell you. Where have you been? You're not following me on any of my socials because I've been talking about heated rivalry. Now here's the thing with heated rivalry. It is a really well told story. Like the show is really well told. Like the show is good. You can tell that they didn't have a ton of budget because of the way that they shoot things, but it's still so stylistic and good. And a lot of times when I see like LGBTQ IA content, especially earlier on, especially things that don't have a lot of big budget backing, it's not necessarily all that great. And I get the stories need to be told. It kind of like it's Tyler Perry level of storytelling. But this one was so good. Like I just watched it randomly. I didn't see anything on it online. I was just on HBO and it was like, you're going to like this. And I was like, okay, so I usually check out like LGBTQ content because I want to see something different than heteronormative stuff. And I was just so shocked at how good it was. And then to find out like a week later that it was a book series, I was in. And it is nice because it's romance that doesn't have trauma in it. And I've said this online that it's a lot of times, especially in like the spicy book world that I'm in, a lot of it has a lot of like dangerous violence, fighting and things like that to where I get anxious. And in this one, it was none of that. There's no danger. The danger was, loss of income and maybe loss of reputation, but it wasn't like physical violence danger. And it was just nice to watch and to enjoy and to see male characters be so vulnerable with each other. Yeah. So anyways, there's that. Let's get started in just a few seconds. I'm glad I'm actually starting on time. Isn't that crazy? Who am I? Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated. Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 70, On Garde. My name is Wah. I do recaps of relationship reality TV shows such as 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup, Love is Blind. So if you are at all interested in that content, please go on ahead and subscribe to my channel. If while watching this you get the hee hee ha-has and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so with the options that are down below. But otherwise, welcome everybody in the chat. Thank you for those who are hashtag replay gang. I'm sorry if it's some kind of confusing with what's going on with the different rooms. I'm not sure what YouTube is trying to do, but hopefully you guys are still able to. Sorry, Gato's doing stuff. Hopefully you guys will be able to see the content and are satisfied with it. Okay. Let's jump right into this episode. So we finally get Jenny and Sumit back. I mean, it's been a minute. You know, we hadn't seen them for a while and we were wondering where they were. And we were sad that we hadn't seen them. And it's great because then we've got Sadhna back with all of her drama. And we learned a little bit more about Sadhna and in a way that we've never actually kind of been privy to before. And I was into it. So we start off with Jenny just complaining about the room. She says the room is dirty, it's overpacked, and she can't live there. And she is just like, she's like, if it's not one thing, it's another. There's so many clothes about the place, and I see there's a bunch of bags. And I was like, you know what? Unfortunately, this is the thing about those of us who were raised in cultures where we keep bags. You know, we bought that one thing one time, but the bag was so pretty that we keep the bag. And that's what's happening. She says that the electricity goes out. If it's not out in one room, it's out in the another. And that the water pressure, she's just having such a hard time with the water pressure. And I said, Jenny, I know that you feel like your luscious locks require a certain amount of water pressure. But I was like, I think that the density of your hair is probably okay with the water pressure. Like if anyone needs to complain about water pressure, it's Sadhna. It's Sadhna and the Shai, the daughter-in-law. I mean, hell, even Sumit. So I'm like, whatever it is that Sadhna does for her hair and with the water pressure, something that you need to get into, right? Like, I mean, I can't complain about when trickles of water come out because I don't require that much in my hair. And so she's like, aren't you upset that you have to hide your alcohol? Like, we have to hide the alcohol because Sadhna's going to say something. And he's like, well, I was just trained to be adaptable. And she's like, our sex life is just gone. And not only that, she's sick. So not only is she having like her, Sumit, I don't want to in the water. And Sadhna, don't you want to hide it? She's also like, oh, man, I don't want to have to deal with this electricity anymore. I can't breathe out of my nose, man. And she's like, our sex life, we used to have sex 3-4 times a week. Now, with the baby and the mom, we can't have sex at all. And I said to myself, I know that Jenny and Sumit have sex. I just cannot imagine it. Like, I physically... I try to imagine it, and it's just like it's like an uncooked turkey and a cooked turkey, and I'm just like, I don't see. There's no body parts. Just like there's limbs, there's a body, and there's just two entities with limbs with each other, and I'm unable to visualize it. And thank God, frankly. Just thank God. And so he's like, I was taught and trained to adapt. And so I'm just adapting to the situation that we're in right now. And he's like, it took me years to get back to my family. And I'm so happy that I'm at the place I'm at. And I just wish that you would just like chill. And he's like, it's really disrespectful for me to stand up to my mother. But it's also like, Jenny's not happy. So I have an impossible choice. I love the way Sumit speaks. I love the way British colonies speak. This is great. So then the next thing we have is he's like, me and the family are going out. The cafe is closed because it's a holiday and we're going to have a picnic. And so they go to have a picnic and they bring out these, like, I don't know, I'm just going to say bamboo because I don't know what the material is, but they bring out this like material type mats, which I've seen, and you've seen them in different communities, especially like Asian communities. They bring out this mat instead of like a blanket, and I was like, what a great idea. Because the mat is probably so much more sturdy, and you probably don't lose the things that you lose when you're dealing with blankets on grass. I was like, what a great idea. Like, even if you did have a blanket, putting one of those mats underneath it and then putting the blanket on top of that so there's something like sturdy underneath it. Kudos. What a wonderful lot. So they're out there, they're playing cricket, and he's like, Jenny is not physical at all. She plays no kind of sports, not mental, not physical, no chess, no nothing. She's just like, I don't wanna. And I'm like, that is hilarious. And I think about it because I'm somebody, like, when I get around my family or when I get around friends, like, I would love to play a game. Like, I'm into Mafia. I want to play spades. Like, I'll play any kind of game, truthfully, around anybody. Monopoly, like, I'm into it. And so for that to be like something that person just doesn't do, I'm like, so what do they just do? Like, watch TV and knit? Which is nothing wrong with knitting. I mean, I crochet. So I was like, what do you guys, what do you do? What does she read? And I'm pretty sure the answer is no. So what does Ginny do? I wonder. So they're playing cricket, and she's actually playing. And Sadhna's playing. The whole entire family are running around playing. Meanwhile, Grandpa is just like trying to catch Anush. Anush is just bounding about the place. Grandpa is not even in the scene because he's running around with Anush, which I love that for him. I love that for him. So they sit down after a good game, and Jenny gets hit on the head with a ball because she's not paying attention. And they have a good laugh about it. And as they're sitting there talking, Sadhna gets emotional because she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to have my family all around me. Right. So they're all sitting together, seemingly like just basking in the glow of family. And, she's like, yeah, I've forgiven you. I've created space for you in my life. And I'm so glad that you're back. And he's like, well, I mean, he is Sumit. Sumit is like, well, we are happy to be here, but also at the same time, you've got to relax a little bit. And she's like, what are you saying? And he's like, Jenny is not your servant. She's your daughter-in-law. So like, maybe just relax a little bit and stop being such a tyrant force in our lives. She's like, don't talk to me like that. Don't be disrespectful. And she starts to cry. And so then Jenny's like, what the hell is happening? Right? Like, what is going on? Because Sadhna is like immediately going into, you're talking to me so rudely. And he's like, I am not talking to you rudely. Like, I am just being honest with you about how I feel and how we feel. And so first we see Shai sitting next to her. And we think that Shai just wants to like crawl into a corner and die. Like, she's just like, please let this stop. Let this stop. Sadhna gets up and she walks away because she's like, you're being rude to me, Sumit. How dare you talk to me like that? So Sumit gets up and he follows her. He's like, none of that crying nonsense. You're not going to get up and cry and make it seem like we're doing anything to you, because I'm not being selfish. I'm not being rude. I'm just saying to you that you cannot treat us the way you treat us. You always want to fight and argue with us. You think if someone doesn't agree with you that they're wrong, and that's not the truth. We're all adults living in your house. I get that. She's like, well, what am I supposed to do when there's dishes in the sink? And none of these two lazy broads want to clean these dishes. I got to do the dishes by myself. And he's like, no, we're all tired. We all work. Like, just give us some room to breathe. So he follows her because she's like, no, Sumit, no. And she's crying and she walks away. So Sumit follows her and he's like, stop with all the theatrics. And so poor Jenny and Shai are just off in the corner and they're just like kind of talking. Now, Jenny takes it too far by saying that Sadhna needs to learn her place. I said, Jenny, you need to learn your place because you married this young man and moved into his family and you're older than his mother. So just like go ahead and back on up. She's doing a lot. She's doing the best that she can with the information that she's dealing with, and she's being shunned by the family and the community because of you. So like, please don't. And then he tells his mother, he's like, listen, we're not your little soldiers. Like, you can't just run the house the way you do. So then we're starting to get a picture that Sadhna is never happy and she's always yelling and she's always complaining. And I know what that is like. Those of you who have ever lived with somebody who is consistently complaining and it's their home, so you feel like you can't really say anything, but at the same time, it's like, but it's my home too, because I live here and because you allow me to live here. And not only that, I also contribute financially to this space. So you're not allowed to just walk around and be frustrated about someone not sweeping to your liking because you feel like you would have swept if it was you. Or then sweep then. So he's like, there's tension in the house because you're bothering us over little things. These are little things. We're all adults here. And I get that. I can see somebody who has taken care of her sons, done all the housework from top to bottom for years. Then her sons get married, and then the daughter-in-laws come in the house, and you want to rule them. You still want to have the house clean to whatever you think your standards are, and then you want to just be rude and rude to everyone around you because you are frustrated that, it's almost like maybe Sadhna had a hard time with her mother-in-law, and she's like, time for me. My turn. And he's like, no, this is the 21st century. I'm sorry if in the 80s you had to run around and do what my grandmother did, but like it is the year 2023, 24, 25. And we have access to the outside world, and you cannot treat us this way. And so Sadhna's like, listen, if you want to be American, oh, go ahead and be American, but I think you need to learn your Indian culture. He's like, learn my Indian culture. I've never left India. So I don't understand what you're saying to me. Sumit has not set one foot in America that we know of. He's not lived in America. He's not visited America. So when she's like, if you want to be American because you live with her, go be American. So he's like, first of all, reel it back in. There's no reason for these dramatics. No reason. She's upset crying. And then the brother comes. His brother comes and is like, yeah, mom, you're making us feel very uncomfortable and unwanted in your home. And it's got to stop. Like, it's too much. And I said, when both sons come at you, when little bro who was like, yeah, you shouldn't marry Jenny, you need to break up with Jenny. Like, when little bro steps up because his wife is being pooped on too by Sadhna, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And so we're starting to see that Sadhna may be more toxic than we know. And that was very interesting. And so Jenny's like, well, she needs to learn her place. I was like, Jenny, I need you to relax. Because I know you don't help Shy. I know you don't help your sister-in-law. I know you don't. She's running up, trying to run around with that baby. And I know you can't do anything. She doesn't sweep well. She don't make chai. She don't cook. She don't clean. You know what I mean? And she don't even got no green. So I look, what is she bring into the situation? Marshmallow says, Jenny weaponized incompetent pisses me so much. Sadhna been toxic. I thought we all knew. I mean, I knew she was toxic, and it was hard because she was going through a lot. Like, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I did. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. It is very weird that they were good friends. It's because she didn't know who she was. She didn't know who she was. So she was just like, whatever. So it was just very interesting. It was a very interesting thing. And like, she's like, mom needs to relax. I'm like, Jenny, why don't you go back to America and take care of your kids? Oh. Why don't you go back to America and take care of them grandchildren you got? I'm rude. Okay, so let's move on to Madeline and Luke. Girl, what happened? What really happened in this? What actually happened with Madeline and Luke is the question. Nothing. Oh, I don't even have my little piece of paper where I write down my Merry Christmas to me. I'm not taking notes. I'm not going to do the timestamps. Okay, so Madeline and Luke. Luke's dad gets there. And he is excited to see Colombia. He is excited to travel. The man came all this way with his Nikon. He's ready to take his pictures, okay? And he gets dropped off at Guatape. I don't know how long he's been traveling, but whatever it is, he loved it, okay? He gets there. Luke shows him the property. He meets Madeleine, the big hugs, and Luke's like, you did a good job with my dad. And I'm like, how could she do a bad job with your dad? It's not like she's going to start yelling at him and be like, Luke's father, why you raise such a bitch? He don't do things for me. She's not going to do that. So, him and his dad go off and look at the property, and the dad's asking a bunch of questions, and the dad's like, listen, this is going to cost more money than you think it's going to cost. Because right now you're like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. But like, if it's going to cost 2 million, budget for 3. He's like, I don't think, I don't think water and electricity is going to cost that much. And I was like, I don't know how much water and electricity costs in the US. Like, if you were to buy a plot of land and then choose to have your land link to the infrastructure of the county/city or whatever it is that you live next to, I don't know how much that would cost, but it feels like it would cost some money, because do not trenches need to be dug? Do not lines need to be casted? I don't understand how electricity works. I'm gonna be 100% with you. If there isn't a power line, I don't understand how it works. Where isn't it underground? Don't they put cords in the ground and hope that a gopher doesn't dig it up? Like, I don't know. Okay. But he's gotta like light and water an entire hotel village, like cabana little hut situation. You know what I mean? And he's like, I don't think it's gonna cost that much. And I'm like, I feel like it's gonna cost much. I feel like it's gonna cost much. And so the dad's like, listen, and you also gotta hold it down with her, and you being your name being on the on everything. And he's like, well, Madeline doesn't feel like, it should be 50-50. Like, I keep telling her that I want Madeline doesn't feel like it should be under my name. I offered to give her a little plot of land, and she wants us to go half and half on all of it. And the dad's like, no, you got to stand your ground on this. Like, you purchased this before you were married, so it's yours. And he's like, I was married to a feisty woman, or he says something like, I was married to a demanding woman. And so you just got to stand your ground, because dad thinks that Luke is also worried that his dad is going to think that this is another one of Luke's dumb ideas, things that he cannot, like businesses that are going to fail. And I'm like, yeah, we watched you on camera have businesses that fail. You had jewelry, you had sunglasses, like we watched it fail, all of it. So, and I'm sure your dad has seen way more than we've seen. And so he's like, I gotta talk to Madeline. And we're like, oh, anytime a parent talks to a spouse, it's always weird. So the next scene is her family have shown up, except her mother, and they're all sitting around and they're having a great time. And she's like, let me teach you how to say nice to meet you. And so he's like, they're like, nice to meet you. And she's so happy. She's like, I can't believe tomorrow I'm getting married. And, just like having a great time. We're seeing that there are things being built, like maybe the platform or the stage or the dance floor or whatever is being built. And it's a good time. Now, everyone goes to sleep just on cue. They all just go to sleep. And so Madeline has to stay behind and talk to Luke's dad. And Luke's dad is like, listen, I know y'all been fighting. So like, what's the tea? Are you really prepared for this marriage? And Madeline, looking to me the best she's ever looked outside of her confessional, doesn't have anything to say, and we're left on a cliffhanger. So we don't get into the real conversation, of like, let my son have his property on his own name, probably until next episode, which is like, is that the wedding? You know what I mean? Like, when is he gonna have this conversation with her? So anyways, let's move on to Manon and Anthony. Anthony was not in this episode, but we got lots of Ben. And it was I don't think I like to see scenes where there is a child who is fussy. It's not enjoyable, because as an audience, the only thing I want her to do is put that baby down. Put him to sleep. Isn't it not that time? Like, he's just like moving, and she's talking about how much she loves this time with Ben, and how Ben actually shunned Anthony one day for her. And so she's so excited for it, and she wants to spend all this time with him. And her mother is trying to convince her that you know, being with your kids is like the best, and she would have died if she had to go to work when she was having her children. And Manon is like, but do you also remember having me calculate how much money you guys did not have in the bank? And the mom's like, oh, I didn't think that would I didn't I that caused you anxiety and stress worrying about our money situation. I didn't think that would be the case. And I'm like, huh. Yeah, very much the case. Yeah. I remember having that stress. I remember my like either maybe sophomore year high school, maybe freshman, I don't know. But I knew when my parents like I because I too had a mother who gave too much information. I knew when my parents were going through it financially. Like and it's not which I think a lot of people, I think there is a certain sector, and obviously a certain social class of folks who know that their parents are impoverished. And then you have those people who are like, we didn't even know we were poor. We had so much love in the house. Okay, good for you. But there are people who and children who are aware of their parents struggling financially because the parents choose to not block their children from it. They want to like bring their children in so that their children don't ask them for stuff, so that they know, just so that they're cognizant that there's no money. There's no extra money for gas to go anywhere extra because you only have a finite amount of money for gas. So don't ask me to go here. One year for back to school, my mother spent $100 on my back to school clothes, and I was guilt ridden for weeks. And granted, $100 in the 90s was more than it is now, but also not a lot. Not a lot. And I only got like, I don't remember. We didn't even go to like, we didn't go to Rainbow. We were at Macy's. And who took me to Macy's? Not me. Oh no, we were at JCPenney's. We were at JCPenney. Who took me to JCPenney? Not me. There was a fashion for less. But there was also that idea like of getting quality clothes at the same time. And so when you get good quality clothes that are going to last you longer, there is you have to pay a little bit more. But anyways, like I remember being very stressed out of that, and that's not a good feeling. That's not a good feeling. So Manon is saying that that's the reason why, like, she has this trauma about not having enough money. And she says that sometimes her father, who owned a security business, wouldn't pay himself, would pay his people. And, and I was like, wow, business is bad. And mom didn't work. And, that sometimes the card would get declined in public. That is embarrassing. Like, that's difficult. And so I can see why Manon is like, I need to have money because I have this early stress and trauma of not being able to afford things. However, the idea that Ben would run to her and not Anthony has like made her see the error of her ways, and that she's going to put the hold on a business with Daphne, Darian, one of those names. Until she is able to, I don't know, get to a place where she's okay with going to work full time and, not missing out on Ben. And she says she doesn't want to miss out on anything that Ben has, like any milestones that he has going forward. So anyways, I thought that was sweet. Just a really quick scene. Okay, last couple that we are going to talk about. Is this the last couple, really? Did I miss somebody? It's Chloe and Johnny. Now, let me tell you, Johnny has a lot of highfalutin machismo ideas on what it is that Chloe needs to do at the ripe age of 23 because she is going to get married. So we pick up where she has just finished having a conversation with her homegirls who tell her she's dumb for even entertaining the idea of possibly marrying Johnny. And one of them has to go off and do something else. The other one, they're all wearing black. First of all, cute. And they're all styled really cutely. The friend has on like a thick-soled loafer with a buckle, and I was like, ooh, I really want a thick soled lug loafer with a buckle. And I've seen a couple that I've been kind of eyeing, but it takes a second to break them in. And I want to be able to like wear them comfortably. So then I was also thinking of getting like a kid skin or like a soft, like lambskin loafer with a buckle. I actually have one. I just have it in brown. And because it's like made with like the faux crocodile, actually, let me just show you. I really enjoy this shoe. I don't wear it though, because it's made with this faux crocodile that it's really difficult to break in. And so before I wear it, I got to put in some like shoe thingies to like crank it and like break it in. But I want to pair it like this, but black and like a soft upper and a lug sole. This doesn't have a lug sole. It has a thick sole, but not a lug sole. It's so dusty. Ah, I'm showing you guys a dusty shoe. I haven't worn it. It's so cute though. They're so cute. Could you imagine these with like some skinny jeans or like even all black with like a dark croc brown shoe? Hi, sister. Anyways. What was I talking about? Anyways, the friend was wearing a cute outfit and they go to get food and she's like, I just want to tell you that Johnny's gonna end up coming. And the friend's like, I thought it was meatball night. And she's like, it is meatball night, but and this is some very young girl nonsense. Like the chasm between Chloe and I is so great that I don't know that we would ever even be able to have a conversation. She says that, and this is the kind of ish that I had to deal with like in high school and in college, where you just have girls, and I can only speak from this perspective, maybe it's other people, who truly feel that their significant other has to be involved in almost every aspect of their life, or like, is that really even your partner? Like this idea that like you guys have to do everything together and that these grand sacrifices need to be made in order for you guys to be able to like coexist in the same world. And one of those things is like, yeah, I love my friends and I love Johnny, and you know, we really do need to sit down and talk so that we can all come to an understanding. And I'm like, you think that Johnny and your friend need to have a conversation in order for them to become cordial enough for you to keep your friend and keep Johnny? Why? And don't get me wrong, that's happened to me too, where people are like, I really want you to like my boyfriend. And I'm like, I don't have to like your boyfriend. You have to like your boyfriend. Just come fuck with me when you're done. like, why do I have to be friends with him? Well, I don't understand that. And then she's like, well, they both love me. They have to. And I'm like, no, because Johnny is not right for you. And I'm like, unless and a lot of people have blinders on, right? So unless your friend is totally toxic and your partner's like, hey, that's a totally toxic person you're being friends with, or your friend is the good one and your partner is super toxic and your friend is like, hey, you shouldn't be with that person. They hurt your feelings. Like, so it's like very weird. Anyways, and so they sit down and Johnny shows up and you know, this friend is like, I don't understand why he has to be here. Johnny sits down and he's like, now that you're in a relationship and a committed relationship, I know you're young, but like the expectation is that you only go out late at night 2 or 3 times a year. It's not all the time because you're not in vacation mode anymore. And so if you are going to be in a committed relationship, that means that you're home by 7:30 every night. Because people who are serious in their relationships aren't outside after 7:30. They don't have friends outside of the house. They don't go to do their own like trivia night with their friends. They don't join a knitting group and have girl time outside of that. Like if you are in a knitting group, Chloe, then either you come home by 6 and make sure that you have food on the table so that you and I can eat together and watch TV, and or I'm coming to the knitting circle with you because I need to make sure that you and your friends who knit and while you drink your wine, that you don't have too much wine, because a good woman who's in a relationship doesn't drink too much wine. And it's also another level too, because Johnny himself doesn't drink, and so there's automatically going to be, and I don't know if it's like by choice or like just because he doesn't like the feeling of it, or like, you know, maybe physically he can't do it, because that used to be me. But you know, I never judged anybody who did. I think I did. I think I got to a point where I did judge people who drank, especially when they drank to excess. But it was also because I was frustrated that I had to be around them drunk and I wasn't. So then I would always be like, oh, I can't be around drunk people. These eyelashes are just coming off. Great. So like, yeah, I was like, I can't be around drunk people because it's very annoying, which is true. It is annoying when you're sober and you're around a bunch of drunk people and they're just making drunk people choices. That being said, his idea that Chloe needs to sort of turn her back on her life as a motherless person, like not motherless, as a childless person, because of him, is very interesting to me. And it is so old-fashioned and weird that he would think that a 23-year-old girl who he is in a relationship with should not be able to go out and hang out with her girlfriends because she's in a committed relationship. What does that have to what does her being in a relationship and not being able to party have to do? People who are in relationships and party all the time. He said 2 to 3 times a year. And that is like some ownership nonsense. Like, oh, she didn't have no children. If she had kids, I can see him being like, yeah, you can't be out all times of the night. She does not have kids. And he's like, yeah, no, you can't, you know? And he's like, yeah, if you go out with your friends, you have to invite me. And the friend is like, well, that's because when he's out with his friends, he's up to shenanigans. So then the friend is like, well, you've cheated on her. And he's like, well, no, I haven't. And and then Chloe's like, well, you did message that girl. You messaged the girl about the threesome. And he's like, no, I didn't. And she looks at him and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, what? Don't act like that didn't happen. And he's like, okay, it did. And then he tells producers, he's like, one day I met this woman on the pirate ship and there were some wild and crazy girls and I gave them my social media, and then I come home and there's a message and the girls are like, hey, let's go out. And I tell them no. And she's like, please, I want to hang out. My friends are here. And he's like, well, I'm only come out if it's a threesome. And then the producer is like, well, how did Chloe find out? He's like, well, she has my password, so she checked my social media. And he's like, but that was in the beginning when I didn't understand that we were together. He's like, yeah, we were together, but like I was still in flirtation mode. And I'm just like, oh, so it's pathological. Like it's it's pathological. Like you can't even put the brakes on it and honor the person that you're in a relationship with by not sending like salacious text messages to strangers that you meet on a party boat. But then you want her to not be able to go out with her friends whenever they come to the island. Because if she's going to be in a committed relationship, then she shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, nah. And so it's just really difficult to watch Chloe do this. But here we are. And that is the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We're almost done with this season, and then we're gonna move on to probably another 90 Day Fiance franchise. I feel like we've done Happily Ever After. We're on before the 90 days. We're currently watching The Other Way, so that means that regular 90 Day Fiance is gonna come soon. But until then, at 7:30 or in about 45 minutes, we're gonna come back together and we're gonna talk about 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days, and we get a new couple, and this is hilarious. I have so much to say about it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe.